Organ and tissue donation is certainly a topic that touches families and communities across New Jersey every single day. And while the headlines often remind us of the urgency, like the heartbreaking recent news of New York Jets legend Nick Mangold's passing while waiting for a kidney transplant, the need for education, awareness, and action remains as critical as ever. And this morning, we're joined by somebody who works at the center of that mission. Kelly Bonaventure is the Director of Communications and Hospital Development at NJ Sharing Network, the nonprofit responsible for the recovery and placement of donated organs and tissues across our state. Kelly, good to have you on this morning.
Good morning, Ken. Thank you so much for having me.
You bet. I hope I didn't scare you. I mentioned liver health at the top there. We were talking, I'm just thinking liver transplants are among them. You're trying to get organs and tissues, period. So, with the loss of poor Nick Mangold, he was still, of course, waiting for a kidney transplant. The loss still weighing heavily on so many people. How has his story brought renewed attention to the urgent need for organ donation?
Well, first, I want to express our sincere condolences and sympathies to the Mangold family. Nick was, as a football fan, I watched him play many games and know what an amazing center he was for the New York Jets. And more importantly, what an incredible person he was. So we send our sincere sympathies and condolences to the Mangold family on that loss. Nick's passing has absolutely helped us to raise awareness, and very similar to what organ donation does, turning tragedy into triumph. Nick's story has also helped us to do that. Raising awareness is very, very important. The need for organ donation is great. And Nick's story showcases how organ transplant can touch anyone of any age or any background. Each person that's waiting for a transplant is a person with a family, friends, and their own story. And in the United States, unfortunately, we lose 13 people each day waiting for a life-saving transplant. So
Yeah, I'm
registering
with you.
as an organ and tissue donor is the way that we can all respond to Nick's passing and show that we can do something to help meet that need.
And do you think just for so many people, it's just that uncomfortable topic they don't want to think about, but yet we just need to set aside a few minutes and just check off the box on the driver's license or sign up for it or sign the living will or tell your relatives. Make sure everybody knows that should the time come that I want to donate my organs, should that occur, and you could also be a living donor as well, right? You can donate
Yes.
a kidney. You can also donate the lobe of your liver. You could donate one of the three lobes and save lives. People don't realize that a lobe of your liver, if healthy, going into a person who is not too advanced, will grow into a full liver. Oh, when I found that out, I was amazed, and it could fully function. I have two friends, a friend and a relative, both who've had lobe transplants, both living very healthfully today.
Yes, living donation is an option for those on the transplant waiting list. Unfortunately, there's 100,000 people on the wait list in the United States, 4,000 people waiting right here in the state of New Jersey. And as I said, 13 people pass away each day waiting. And the simple reason is that obviously the need exceeds the supply of available organs. In order for somebody to become an organ donor, they need to pass away in a hospital on a ventilator, or they're an automatic rule out for organ donation. So
Wow.
obviously the need is huge, and they're very, very small pool of eligible donors. So this is why opportunities such as the one you're giving us this morning is so important for us to raise that awareness and to encourage people to make an educated decision about donation. And as you said, saying yes, sharing your wishes with your family. People don't want to talk about end of life decisions, but this is one that really needs to be discussed and talked about.
Absolutely. Kelly, what are some of the most common myths or misconceptions that you encounter about organ and tissue donation, and what's the truth behind it?
So, the number one myth that we hear each and every day is people believe if they are a registered organ donor, that the healthcare team will not work to save their lives and that they just want their organs for transplant, which nothing could be further from the truth. As I just said, you have to pass away in a hospital on a ventilator in order to be eligible to be an organ donor. So that healthcare team is working really, really hard to save that person's life. Healthcare team does not know whether a person is a registered organ donor or not. It is only organizations such as ours the New Jersey Sharing Network is the federally designated organ procurement organization for the state of New Jersey, and there are 56 organ procurement organizations across the country. And it is the organ procurement organization that knows if the person is registered or not the hospital. So that is the number one myth that we hear each and every day.
And that's awful because that dissuades, I'm sure, some people from doing what is a noble a noble and correct thing to do. There is no greater friend than one who lays down his life for a friend. No greater deed, I should say, than to lay down one's life for a friend, as the gospel says of John. The why should the organ, if the person is brain dead, why should the organ be buried with the body when it could live on? Your loved one could live on. You could live on in other people and save countless lives. And who knows, maybe the life you save may go on to find a cure for cancer or to be able to recreate organs in a test tube, and we won't even need to do this again. That's the amazing thing we have to think about. There's a reason for everything and the reason for life. What are the recent milestones and records the state has reached in terms of lives saved and donor registrations?
So last year we had a record-breaking year of growth. We were able to save and transplant 743 organs. And in the state of New Jersey, we have over 3 million people registered to be organ donors. So New Jersey is rallying. New Jersey is very, very generous, and they are rising to the occasion, but not to the degree that we need them to. So we encourage people, visit our website, learn more about the process, feel comfortable with your decision, and you can register right on our website. Most people think you need to go to the Motor Vehicle Commission to register.
What is the website, Kelly? Because we got 10 seconds left. What is that website?
njsharingnetwork.org.
There you go. Kelly Bonventure, Director of Communications and Hospital Development at NJ Sharing Network. Thank you for coming on this morning. Very
Thank you,
important
Ken.
information. And have a good
Thank you so
Thanksgiving
much.
to you.
You too.
You bet.